Cool. All right. Hello, my name is Margaux. I'm new to the studio, so I'm pumped to be teaching you guys. For today, for props, I would grab 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks at home, grab some books or something that brings the floor a little bit closer towards you. And we're going to start off in a position that feels most comfortable for you, whether that's a seat on your back, on your stomach. So settle in and get comfortable. Then as you start to settle into your space here, take a moment to find a soft gaze or close your eyes completely. And just become aware of the space around you. So first notice the sounds that are happening in the room that you're in. Notice the temperature of the room. And whether or not your eyes are closed, recognize any lights that you may be able to identify. Observe the textures beneath you, the different temperatures beneath you. Your clothes on the skin. And then see if you can bring that awareness within and listen to the sound, the feel, the flow of your breath. And an offering to place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Begin to feel the chest rise and fall. Begin to feel the belly rise and fall. As you inhale and as you exhale. Trying not to put too much emphasis on the breath, too much stress, but just let it come naturally. Feeling that air entering in through your nasal passages, into the throat, into the rest of the body. And as you exhale, feel that journey reverse itself back out into the room. The next time that you inhale, come all the way up to the top and see if you can pause at the top. Hold that breath. Right? A slight moment of perhaps feeling uncomfortable, but a reminder to be still. And then let the breath go all the way down to the bottom. And then take another deep inhale through the nose. And an exhale. And then this time, pause at the bottom. And even in a moment where you feel like you need to inhale, see if you can hold it just a little bit longer. Again, that reminder of stillness, and then take a deep inhale through the nose. And open and release the breath, out a sigh. We're going to start to cultivate what we call the Ujjayi Pranayama. So keeping the mouth closed, place the tip of the tongue behind your top teeth. And as you inhale and exhale, do so with a slight restriction in the back of the throat. It's often described as an oceanic sound. Right, and the point here is to not only calm your central nervous system as you flow through the practice, but also as a point and a guide for meditation. A breath that's a little bit more audible. In the vinyasa practice, it's breath per movement, right? The breath guides you through each posture. And so when you create a breath, a pranayama that's more audible, it allows you to concentrate and to connect with that. Now, this freestyle flow has an emphasis on more traditional postures, sun salutations, warriors. But then I like to also add in a few other transitions along the way. But there's something very beautiful about connecting back to the basics, right? The root, the foundation of the practice. And to understand how your individual body moves. And so to begin, with your breath, start to blink open the eyes if they're closed. And then we're going to come into our tabletop position, our hands and knees. And then once you get here, take a moment to look at your hands, making sure that those wrists are underneath the shoulders. Your fingers are spread wide, but not exaggerated, just wide enough to cover some ground. Now I want you to maybe close your eyes here, just so you can start to really connect with your core. And so to engage in the core, oftentimes we do the exact opposite that we're supposed to do. Our stomach dips down, we have a slight arch in the lower back. I want you to pretend like you're pressing the floor away with your hands. Starting to feel your shoulders broadening, tuck your tailbone ever so slightly, and then guide that belly button in towards the spine, and then try and engage in the core as the belly button goes in and up. Take a moment just to pause here. And then on your next inhale, let that go, drop the stomach, lift the gaze, tailbone. And as you exhale, let's round into the spine. Let's do that a few more times. Drop the stomach, lift the gaze, and tail. And exhale to round. Last time, drop the stomach, lift the gaze, and tailbone. Exhale to round. And from here, find your neutral spine, shift the shoulders over the wrists. So you start to lower or find some even plane with your buttocks, your back and the head. And start to bend at the elbows down by your side as you lower all the way down onto your stomach. Toes stay untucked, press the tops of the feet into the earth. Tempt your fingers off the mat, elbows lift up towards the ceiling. And as you inhale, lift the head and the heart. And as you exhale, drop the right shoulder, look over the left. Inhale to lift the head and heart forward. And exhale, drop the left, look over the right. Inhale, lift through to center. Exhale, release all the way back down. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Let's bend at the knees. Keep your feet pointed, your toes lifting up towards the ceiling. And then from here, tuck your tailbone. So again, having that slight roundness in your lower back or that sensation, you're actually creating that straight, strong core. Press into your hands, lift back up through your tabletop position, and then come to a child's pose, either knees together or wide with big toes touching. So sun salutations are a way to warm up the body. But my goal here is for you to move through them with safety. And so I'll walk you through a few variations of sun A's and sun B's so you can feel what works best for your body. Let's come back up through our tabletop position. Inhale, drop the stomach, lift the gaze and tail. And exhale to round. Neutral spine, shift the shoulders over the wrists. Hug those elbows in as you lower down. Keep your core engaged. Inhale, lift the head and the heart forward, finding that cobra. And as you exhale, lower yourself back down. Inhale, press into those hands, come back up through your tabletop. And as you exhale, this time, tuck your toes, lift the hips up and back, find your first downward facing dog. And in this downward facing dog, take the opportunity to pedal out the feet, sway the hips from side to side, bend into those knees. It might feel good to roll over through a high plank and then back into a downward facing dog. Try and be as intuitive with your body as you'd like. And that also means if you crave stillness, find that stillness. All right, from here, we're all gonna meet in a stilled downward facing dog. And see if you can have that sensation of pressing the floor away from you. Think less chest to thighs and more hips to ceiling. Let's lift those heels as high as you can on the in-breath. And as you exhale, release the heels back down. Twice more, inhale to lift. And exhale to release. Last time, lift the heels. This time, bend the knees, gaze is forward. Step up to the top of your mat. Feet are about hips width distance. Let's grab opposite elbows. Allow the head to hang. Perhaps you'd like to sway yourself side to side. And then from here, release the hands down towards the mat and then slide them up to your shins. Shift the weight to your toes. It's kind of like you're peering over a cliff. Think of a little up dog in the chest. So lift the heart forward and up. Think about drawing that tailbone up towards the ceiling. Take a moment to shrug those shoulders in by the ears and then pull them back and down. Take one more deep inhale here. And as you exhale, release yourself back down, all the way forward folds. Slide those hands up towards the hips, flat back, rises yourself all the way up into your mountain pose, into your Tadasana. Release the hands alongside the body, palms face forward. An option here to close your eyes, but connecting to where your body is in space now that you're more vertical. So first variation of a sun A, a sun salutation A. As you inhale, sweep those arms up towards the sky, gaze lifts as well. Draw your hands to heart center as you start to move into that forward fold. Let's inhale, find that half lift, draw your hands to your shins. And as you exhale, forward fold, plant your hands. Let's step that left foot back behind you. Release that knee down. Inhale, lift the heart forward. Find a little bit of a lift from the chest away from the thighs. Allow those hips to sink forward and down. Take one more deep inhale here. And as you exhale, release those hands, tuck back your left toes, float the back knee, step back to your downward facing dog. Let's roll over to our high plank on your inhale. Exhale, pause here. Press the floor away, broaden those shoulder blades, feel that core engage. Take one more deep in breath. Release the knees all the way down. Bend at the knees and the toes up towards the ceiling. Stick your butt up towards the ceiling. Drop the chin down towards the earth as you hug those elbows in by your side. Release the tops of the feet to the mat. Scoop the heart forward and up. Cobra pose, inhale. And as you exhale, release yourself all the way down. Tuck your toes from your knees, come up to your tabletop position. And as you exhale, find that downward facing dog. Take a moment here to sweep that left leg up towards the sky. Don't worry about squaring the hips. Maybe you like to bend at the knee and open up the hips over to the left. Try more so to square those shoulders. Might feel good to make some big circles with the knees here in one direction or the opposite. And then when you're ready, straighten into that left leg. If it's bent, inhale here. And as you exhale, release it next to the right. One time, lift the heels up and breath. And as you exhale, release them back down. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gazes forward. Make your way up to the top of the mat. Find your forward fold. Half lift, hands come on your shins. And exhale to fold. Grab opposite elbows here, let yourself hang. Like anything, our body needs repetition and postures for that muscle memory. The more repetition that we have, the more comfortable our body gets in knowing where we're going. And over time and practice, the deeper we feel connected. And sometimes that translates to progressing in a posture, whether that's just simply understanding your body in that posture or allowing yourself to release deeper. And so from here, shift the weight to your toes in this forward fold and imagine a string guiding the crown of the head down towards the earth and your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Release the hands back down, half lift in breath. Exhale, fold. Hands draw to your hips, flat back rises you all the way up. Scoop those arms up. Hands come through to heart center on the out breath and release them down by your side. Second time here in your mountain pose, notice what might feel familiar. Notice what stands out, what's different. On your next inhale, scoop those arms up in breath. Out breath dives you forward and down. Half lift on your inhale. Plant the hands, step the right foot back behind this time. Release that knee down. Find some lightness in your fingertips. Chest lifts slightly off the thigh. Heart reaches forward and up. Gaze might start to look forward as well as you sink the hips forward and down. Take one more deep inhale. Release the hands onto the mat. Tuck back your right toes. Float the back knee. Step back, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Sway those hips side to side. Then eventually settling into some stillness. Let's sweep that right leg up towards the sky on the in-breath. Again, you might like to bend into the knee, open up the hips. Try and keep your shoulders square for this round. The heels, bend the knees, gaze is forward. Make your way up to the top of the mat, finding your forward fold. That back sweeps those arms up towards the sky in breath. Draw your hands to heart center as you exhale. Sweep up, look up, inhale. Exhale, dive yourself down. Half lift on the in-breath. Plant the hands, step back to your downward facing dog this time. Roll over to your high plank, inhale. As you exhale, pause here. Press the floor away. Shift the weight from the toes to the heel. Notice how that feels in that weight distribution. Take one more deep inhale, find your stillness as you exhale, release the knees. Toes lift up. Stick the butt up towards the ceiling, drop the chin down towards the earth as you squeeze those elbows in by your side. Release the feet, peel the heart forward, inhale. And exhale, release all the way down. Tent the fingers off your mat. Inhale, lift head and heart. Exhale, drop the right shoulder, look over the left. Inhale, lift head and heart. Exhale, drop the left, look over your right. Lift head and heart in breath. Release down, exhale. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Coming out of this a little bit differently, bend at the knees, toes lift up towards the sky. Start to slide your butt up towards the ceiling as you connect the chin down towards the earth. Cobra, release the feet, lift the head and the heart forward. And as you exhale, tuck your toes, use your core to press back into your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gazes forward, make your way up to the top of the mat, finding your forward fold. Half lift on your inhale, hands come on shins. And exhale to fold. Flat back sweeps those arms up towards the sky in breath. Draw your hands to heart center. All right, inhale, sweep up, look up. Exhale, dive yourself down. Half lift, hands come on shins. Plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Press the floor away, inhale. Drop the knees as you exhale. This time we're gonna lower halfway down, shift the shoulders over the wrist, bend the elbows, squeeze them in by your side. Inhale, finding this modified upward facing dog. Pause here. And as you exhale all the way down into your stomach. Inhale again, lift the head and the heart forward. See if you can press into the hands to lift a little bit more. Press those shoulders back. Take one more deep inhale here. And then exhale, come through your tabletop to your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift the heels. As you exhale, release them back down. Again, inhale, lift the heels. This time, release the knees, child's pose. So in any chaturanga transition, so that high plank to low, the biggest thing is that core engagement, so you don't start to dip your back, meaning that your stomach collapses into the mat before your chest or your head. And so a wonderful modification or a variation is through the knees. So this next variation, we won't do through the knees, but if you start to feel like you're losing that core strength, just release the knees back down, right? Your back, your core will thank you. And over time, you'll build up that strength. Let's rise back up through our tabletop position. We'll all meet in our downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gazes forward. Take as many steps as you need to make up to the top of the mat, forward fold. Half lift on your inhale. And exhale to fold. Flat back sweeps those arms up towards the sky in breath. Take a moment to interlace the fingers above the head. Try not to allow that butt to stick out behind you, but zip everything in, tuck out the tailbone, engage in the core. Reach those pointer fingers up, inhale. And as you exhale, slight bend over to the left. Let's come back through to center, in breath. Out, breath over to the right. Come back through to center, inhale. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind your lower back, straighten into those elbows. Take a deep in-breath here. And as you exhale, fold forward with those clasped hands. Hands reach up towards the ceiling. Let's bend generously into that right knee. Gaze looks up and over that left shoulder. Reverses as you bend generously into the left knee. Gaze looks up and over that right shoulder. Draw yourself back through to center. Release the hands down, half lift and breath. And as you exhale, fold. Root to rise, press into the feet, rise up, hands sweep up. Hands come through to heart center. So a more traditional sun salutation, A, sun A. As you inhale, sweep those arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, flat back leads you into that forward fold. Half lift on your inhale. Plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Now, option here to lower the knees wherever you are. Shift the shoulders over the wrists. Lower halfway down. Squeeze those elbows in by your side. Inhale, lifts the head and the heart forward. And as you exhale, we'll meet in our downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift those heels, bend the knees, gaze forward. Take as many steps as you need to make it up to the top of the mat. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, step the left foot back behind you, release that knee down. Now here, guide your left foot towards the back right-hand corner of your mat. And start to walk your hands up on top of that front knee. So take a moment here to sink those hips, exaggerate it as you sink those hips as far forward as you can. And then I'd like you to place one hand on your stomach and one hand on your lower back. Guide your tailbone down with a hand on your lower back as you feel your core start to engage. You're gonna start to feel those hips pulling up and back just slightly. And that's what we want. Take your right thumb, place it on your right hip crease and see if you can pull the hip crease back just slightly. From here, sweep those arms up towards the ceiling. So you might recognize this as a modified warrior one. Take a deep inhale here and a deep exhale. One more deep inhale. Let's plant those hands down. Tuck back your left toes, float the back knee, step back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, roll over to your high plank. From knees a straight line, lower halfway down. Inhale to your upward facing dog. Exhale to your downward facing dog. Beautiful. Make sure you haven't lost the connection to your breath. Right, that's the very root, the very foundation of this practice. Long, deep inhale. Long, deep exhale. Lift those heels, bend the knees, gaze forward, make your way up to the top of the mat, finding your forward fold. Half lift on your inhale. And exhale to fold. Flat back sweeps those arms up towards the sky in breath. Draw your hands to heart center. And from here, can you just interlace your fingers with one another and take a moment just to find some circles in the wrists. Right, so if you're blessed with a job where you're at a computer all day long, like myself, it's a gentle reminder when you're in a downward facing dog or a plank pose that your wrists, your joints, all your muscles need a little extra love to loosen up. Reverse that direction of the circle if you haven't already. Release the hands down by your side. Let's extend that left hand out in front. Place those fingers up towards the ceiling, and then let's place that right hand towards the left fingers. Press the fingers towards you. Release the right hand. Just flip the fingers down so that back of the hand faces towards the screen that you're looking at, and then pressing again that right hand on top of the left. Palm tries to reach towards that forearm. Right now we're aiming for that stretch at the top of the wrist. Release the hand, take a moment just to find some circles with that right wrist or that left wrist. All right, come over to the opposite side. So reaching that right arm forward, flex into that hand like you're about to give someone a very straight armed high five. And then placing that left hand on top of the right fingers, send those fingers a little bit closer towards you as you continue to press the heel of that right wrist away from you. Release the hand, then start to send those fingers down. Left hand comes on top or the back of that right hand, and then palm comes towards that forearm. Beautiful. Release the hand, find some circles with the wrists. Step up to the top of the mat if you aren't already. As you inhale, sweep your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, hands come through to heart as you lead yourself into a forward fold. Half lift on your in-breath. And as you exhale, plant the hands, stepping the right foot back behind, release that right knee down. Send your right toes towards the back left-hand corner of your mat, sink the hips forward and down, exaggerate that sinking, and then walk those hands up to that front knee. Again, from here, place one hand on your stomach, one hand closer towards your tailbone. Guide your tailbone down as you start to feel your core engage. And then from here, take your left thumb, pull that left hip crease back slightly. Imagine a string from your sternum up towards the ceiling, and then sweep those arms up. Try to align those arms right by the ears. Ever so slight tuck of the chin to keep the length of the back of the neck. Take one more deep in breath here. And as you exhale, release those hands to frame that front foot, tuck back your right toes, float the back knee, step back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, roll over to your high plank. Again, your choice, release the knees or straight line, lower halfway down. Inhale, peel to your upward facing dog. And exhale, we'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the heels. And exhale to release back down. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gazes forward, make your way up to the top of the mat. Find your forward fold. This time, let's bend into those knees generously, enough so your chest can rest on top of the thighs. Let your head hang. Wrap those hands behind the back of your legs, so you're sealing that gap from the legs to your chest. Shift the weight to your toes. Try and guide that crown of the head down towards the earth as you send the hips up towards the ceiling. Right, cultivating that length in the spine. A more active forward fold here. If you start to feel your chest peeling away from the thighs, rebend back into the knees, find your edge and stay there. Release the hands down in front of you, half lift in breath, and exhale to fold. Flat back sweeps those arms up towards the sky, inhale. Draw your hands to heart center as you exhale. All right, from here, take a look at your feet. Make sure your feet are hips width distance. If you need to double check, you can make double fists with your hands. Place your hands in between your feet, heel toe those feet so they hug the outer edges of your hands. It's a good representation of your hips. And then start to peel yourself back up. Hands draw to your hips for this first one. And then from here, we're going to start to bend at the knees. You can take it as low as you'd like, but the goal here is still be able to see your toes. So shift the weight to your heels. We call this our chair pose. Utkatasana. Sink into those hips. Try and lift the heart forward and up. Starting to feel those thighs burning, those quads activating. And then maybe draw your hands to heart center. If you have further to go, you might start to sweep the arms up towards the sky. Take a deep in breath here. And as you exhale, straighten into the legs, forward fold. Let's half lift on our in breath. And as you exhale, step back to our downward facing dog. From here, roll over to your high plank, inhale. Lower the knees, lower the chest halfway. Lift the head and heart forward in breath. And an out breath greets our downward facing dog. So on your next inhale, lift the heels. Keep both heels lifted and lift the left leg high. Take a deep in breath here. And as you exhale, draw the knee in towards the nose, round into the spine. Inhale, send that left leg high. Exhale, knee comes in towards the nose, gaze looks forward. How softly can you step that foot in between the hands? Pop that back foot forward enough to ground down into the heel. Walk your hands up on top of that front knee. So you're still hovering that thigh. Take your left thumb, put it at your hip crease, pull the hip crease back slightly as you reach the crown of the head forward. Airplane your arms, send them back, palms face down. Take a deep in breath here, and a deep exhale. Sweep the arms up, inhale, warrior one, beautiful. So a few things in this warrior one. Re-engage in the core by tucking the tailbone ever so slightly. And this is a perfect opportunity to listen to your body. If the hips, the knees feel a little bit funky, instead of squaring the hips to the front of the room, keep them open as if you were in a warrior two, but just twist your upper body, your torso to face towards the front. Take one more deep inhale here. And as you exhale, release the hands down. Framing that front foot, step back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, roll over to your high plank. Drop the knees. Lower halfway down. Inhale to your upward facing dog. Out breath meets your downward facing dog. Lift those heels high. Keep both heels lifted and then lift the right leg high. Take a deep inhale here. Point into the right toes. Guide the knee in towards the nose. Round, round, round. Inhale, send the leg back up. Exhale, knee to nose. Gaze looks forward. How softly can you step that right foot in between the hands? Hop that back foot forward enough to ground down into the heel. Walk your hands up on top of that front knee. Now, hypothetically, we all want both sides to act the same, but realistically, that's not quite the case. So for example, for me on this side, it's easier for me to keep that back heel lifted, or it feels more comfortable for my body. So that's an option for you. Stay here or airplane your arms. Reach the crown of the head forward, peel that right hip back. Sweep the arms up tall and breath. Sink into that front knee, but don't allow that knee to track over that ankle, that right ankle. Just stay on top. Take a deep in-breath here. One more exhale. One breath in. Out breath meets your hands to frame the front foot. Step back to your downward facing dog. Roll over to your high plank. Front knees are straight line, lower halfway down. Up dog, in breath. Down dog, exhale. Lift both heels, bend the knees, gaze is forward, make your way up to the top of the mat, forward fold. Make two fists with the hands. Place those fists in between the feet. Make sure your feet are hips width distance. And then from here, draw your hands to heart center. Find that half lift. Bend at the knees generously. Keep your knees bent and rise the chest up. Chair pose. In breath here. Deep exhale. Root to rise with the arms up tall. Inhale. Hands come through to heart center. Sweep up, look up in breath. Out breath to forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Plant, step back, down dog. High plank in breath. Lower all the way down, exhale. This time, keeping that right hand underneath the shoulder, extend that left arm out to a half T here. Gaze looks over that right shoulder here. Press in towards the right hand, stack roll over that left shoulder, any amount. Release that head down, let it relax. Further to go, you're gonna take that right foot, maybe bend at the knee, place the foot behind that left leg. One more deep inhale, and a deep exhale. Draw yourself back onto your stomach. Keep your right hand where it is. Gaze looks over towards the left hand. From here, we're just gonna bend at that left elbow. So like a half cactus or cactus shape. Turn your gaze back over towards the right. Press into the right hand, stack roll over. We're gonna do the same thing, but this time with that bent left elbow. You're not gonna be able to go as far. We're diving a little bit more into our pectoral muscles. So be gentle. In moments where I feel uncomfortable in a posture, there's a little bit more intensity, I tend to increase the sound, the volume of my breath. Let's roll back onto our stomach. Place the left hand underneath the shoulder. Reach that right arm to that half T. Gaze looks over towards the left. Stack roll over that right shoulder any amount, and then find your leg variation. Draw ourselves back through to center. Gaze looks over towards the right, bend at that right elbow like that cactus shape. And then when you're ready, gaze comes back over towards the left. Stack roll over that right shoulder once more. And when you're ready, draw yourself back onto your stomach. Place your hands underneath the shoulders, make your way through your tabletop position, and then we're gonna flip ourselves around onto our backs. Once you get onto the back, hug those knees in towards the chest. From here, we're gonna start to reach for the outer edges of our feet. If that is not in your range today, no worries. Place your hands around your ankles or towards the outsides of the calves. Wherever you are, flex into the feet, draw the knees closer towards your side body. It's easy here to round into our back, but we're gonna take a little bit more of an active happy baby pose. So pull the shoulders back, try and connect them to your mat. And then draw your tailbone down towards the mat as well. Let's keep the left foot in that happy baby pose. Extend the right leg all the way out in front of you. And then guide that left knee in towards the chest. Left hand comes out to the T. Use your right hand across that left knee over the body, finding that supine spinal twist. Draw your knee back through to center. Right knee joins the left. Find that happy baby pose once again. Right option to grab the ankles or the outsides of the legs or reach for the outsides of the feet. Maybe even this time you play around with rocking from side to side. Keeping the right foot in that happy baby pose, extend the left leg all the way out in front of you. Right knee hugs in towards the chest. Place the left hand on top of that right knee. Right hand comes out to that T. Cross the knee over the body. Nice spinal twist. Right knee hug comes back in towards the center. Left knee joins the right. Place the soles of the feet down onto the mat. Allow those knees to open up in opposite direction. Feet come to touch. You're more than welcome to stay here for your final Shavasana. In this Supta Baddha Konasana or bound ankle pose, or if you'd like to settle in to your final corpse pose with the legs and the arms extended, you can take that option as well. As you start to settle into your final posture, close the eyes. Let go of that intentional breath. And just like at the beginning of class, observe your surroundings, the noises, the temperatures, the textures. And then see if you can be so in tune with your natural breath that all external stimulation starts to fade. These last few moments are the most important and arguably the hardest. But try to embrace the stillness and the silence to rest. Shavasana. And take a long, deep inhale and an expansive exhale. On your next inhale, sweep those arms up overhead, release them back behind. And as you exhale, draw those knees in towards the chest. As you slowly make your way over to your right side. Feel your forehead to the mat. Thanking your practice, your body for allowing you to move, and yourself for carving out this time. And with your eyes closed, pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat, the hands drawn at heart center. We'll end the practice sitting in a tall spine as you bow the chin in towards the chest. I hope that you continue to think of yourself with kind thoughts. Look at yourself with gentle eyes and speak to and about yourself with respect always. Namaste. Thank you.